Welcome to this week's version of the Sixers Stock Report, presented by
our good friends at Bagels Co, who offer huge Brooklyn-style bagels made right here in Philadelphia. 15 to 20 different types of bagels at all times. 30 different flavors of cream cheese, affordable coffee, and it's a premium coffee on top of that. Guys, you can't afford not to go to the Bagels Co for your daily bagel and coffee and cream cheese. It's all just so good. Head to www.thebagelsco.com/store-locator to find the closest Bagels Co near you. And oh, by the way, they got croissants too. Shout out to our friend Derek for stopping for some croissants on the way into the studio today.
We had to celebrate the Nico Batum game.
I'm eating this during the Stock Up, Stock Down Sixers Report, of course, brought to you by Bagels Co. You can believe that. Derek Bodner, Kyle Newbeck, I'm Devon Gibbons. We are with you here for our weekly Sixers Stock Report, the first as we head into the postseason. So let's get things started here. If you're new, we just throw a few different topics at the guys, and we go with the stock up, stock down of how things look for the week. And we got to stick and start with this one. If we have croissants in here from Bagels Co., we have to go. Viva la France! Nick Batum, stock up, way the hell up. Stock down.
I have to say, Devon, that was a good effort. Kyle's French is better.
As I said,
way better.
As I said during the game, magnifique.
Yes, that, and the stock is way up, man.
He embodies everything that I want a role player to be. Right? He doesn't care about the stuff that doesn't matter. He wants to win at all costs. If that means defending Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero in an elimination, well, not an elimination game, in a very important game, he's going to do it. If it means having to take and make a bunch of threes, he's going to do it. If it means with Joel Embiid out resting on the second half of back-to-back that he's going to defend Victor Wembanyama, he will also do that. I think you've seen, I was certainly concerned about him for a little bit there, coming off the hamstring injury. He missed a bunch of time. Didn't look like he had the legs, and he has admitted himself he does not have the legs of when he was younger, and he's able to guard. He said it after the game on Wednesday, Jason Kidd and Dirk Nowitzki in the same playoff game. Like that, this is something he's been doing
for a long
throughout
time.
His career. The difference now is what he used to be able to do through athleticism and length and all of that. He still got the wingspan, but a lot of his work is just done through the game smarts and the preparation and executing the game plan that he gets from the coaches. And Buddy Hield paid him, Kelly Oubre paid him compliments last night, talking about he's a guy who sets the tone in the gym. He takes care of his body. He still gives himself to the game this deep into his career. Great to see him coming into form at a time of the season where they really need it. And they're certainly going to need him some more if they're going to do any damage in the playoffs.
And again, I go back to him stating at practice, Derek, where he just simply pointed out that this was the equivalent of a Game 7 in the play-in game, and he comes out with a performance like that. You know, the stock up is certainly worthy for him as we start this thing off.
Yeah, I mean, they legitimately have no chance in that game if he doesn't not only start making like better decisions and quicker ball movement, but making those shots. Like he said after the game that, oh, you know, I might not do this again. Well, okay, but they needed that one.
Yes.
And every team that makes a deep run has role players that maybe they can't do it each and every night out. Maybe they will only do it once in the playoffs, but you have to get it that one time from a number of different players. That was a Nico Batum game, and that is, you know, that is why he's here, to make those shots, to take those quick shots, to keep the ball moving. Everything you needed from him you got last night in the second half, and they legitimately do not win that game without him.
All right, great performance from Nick Batum, starting us off with the stock up on this version of Sixers Stock Report. Let's go to the big fella. I don't think we've included him in the stock report since he's been back. Joel Embiid, stock up, stock down since he's returned, and certainly the performance in the Miami Heat game in the play-in on Wednesday night. Stock up, stock down.
So through 3 quarters, it would have been a stock down. Because of the fourth quarter, I will not lift the stock up or stock down sign.
I also think there's an argument because of where we think he's at physically to go stock down.
Yeah.
But
they are 9-0 since he came back, which is important.
Stock up, because to Derek's point, They continue to win games.
9-game winning streak.
They've won games in different ways. They've been adaptable. I think we've seen a lot of crunch time heroics from Joe, right? Sometimes that has been him hitting the gas on defense. Last night or Wednesday night against Miami, we saw that in the form of a couple of made threes, a big N1 after an offensive rebound, an assist. Finding ways to win, being mentally and physically tough enough to get it done in those tight spots and the games. To me, it's always been the final level for Joel is less about the skill set than it is the mindset and the game slowing down and reading things quicker, doing things quicker than the other guys on the floor. And it's just one game. It's a playing game. Nobody's going to write any story or write any books and do career retrospectives on the 7 versus 8 play-in game at the end of Joel Embiid's career. But you have to build the reps in these moments. Thought it was very important for him to have that type of game. And to your point, also been quite a few good games already since the return.
All right. Joel, stock up for you, man. Bagels on us, Joel.
Well, croissant today.
Croissant. Yeah, croissant. Very good.
I am uncultured. I still say croissant.
Very good, by
I
the
would
way.
say that normally. I'm trying to shout out to our guy, Nico. Today.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to the next one. Stock up, stock down. I think this one is going to lean more towards your side.
Uh-oh.
Quite possibly because
Negative Nelly down there.
Man, listen, Tobias Harris, in this game, while he did hit the glass, and he did do that.
You know what?
Let's go stock up, stock
I'll
down.
give you the stock down because I know that's what you want.
Tobias Harris.
He didn't make a single mistake in the final 4 minutes of that game last night.
Neither did you.
That's a plus.
Or I, or Devon.
That's a plus. Yeah, very true.
Look, he missed 145 layups, airballed a couple of threes. At least he hit the glass in the playing game. Yeah.
Kyle,
Half
what was
of
the
them were his own
reaction?
misses.
I mean, we can hear it, but we couldn't because we were doing the live broadcast.
Well, there were definitely a couple gaps coming from the studio too.
Yeah.
What was the reaction?
What was the
It was boo!
Yeah.
Was the reaction?
Right.
Now, I will say this. I actually genuinely felt bad for Tobias in that specific moment because at that time, he was one of the few guys actually trying to make something happen in that game. And he made something happen by humiliating himself on national television and getting some of the loudest boos he's ever gotten during his career. But as Tyrese is just, standing around passing the ball side to side at the top of the perimeter, as Joel's not doing much of anything, I was like, you're not going to celebrate a guy missing 4 consecutive layups, right? Like, I'm not sitting here to tell you, yeah, that was good, actually. Like, way to go.
He was active on the
Tobias.
glass, man.
But I did have, in a human moment, I felt bad for him that he was, from my vantage point, he's leaving it all out there. What he was leaving out there was makes, I guess, unfortunately. And then by the end of the game, it became clear he just didn't have it. That missed 3 that he had
Off the side
in
of
the fourth quarter. I was sitting next to Kai Carlin and Noah Levick on Media Row, and they will attest to this if you ask them. Literally, it was off his finger, and I said, nope, because you could tell this. It was, I don't know if it slipped, if it was the follow through, whatever it was. The second that ball came out of his hands, I was like, nope.
And that's
a miss.
And that was after there were 2 other bad misses from others. I can't remember if it was Maxey and Embiid, but I remember specifically there were 2 really bad shot attempts before that one.
And that's when the doubt
just
started to
topped it
creep
off.
back
Yes,
in,
yes,
too.
Yes, absolutely. So that one was really, really bad. And he just didn't have it. They're going to need him against the New York Knicks somehow, some way. And if not, as we discussed on our show on Thursday, that, of course, Nick Nurse at least shown that he can pull him out of the game when need be. So
that's a pro move right there. Viewers might not pick up on that. Devon didn't say on today's show because we're recording this on Thursday. He said on Thursday's
Well, now
show.
you're just letting everybody know.
We're wearing the same freaking outfits, Kyle. It doesn't take a great detective here. But
Very
it's
true.
a
You
pro
never know
move
who in
for
the
audio.
algorithm's going to see it. They don't know.
I would just
Well,
say
thank you.
on today's show,
Thank
but
you.
Devon, he's a professional.
Thank
here.
you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And our final one, I'm going to the sideline on this one and not a player. I'm going to the head coach. They are on the 9-game winning streak as they head into this playoff. We did break them down on the show on Thursday, the matchup between Tom Thibodeau of the Knicks and Nick Nurse of the Sixers as far as the coaching battle here. But stock up, stock down. We haven't talked about the coach a lot and just wanted to throw that one out there as a little bit of a wrinkle in this one. Stock up, stock down. Nick Nurse.
PD
Stock
positive
up.
down here having a good
Stock
day.
up on Nick Nurse. Okay.
Let's
If they would have kept playing like they did in the first half, this
Oh.
would have been all me. I would have been the only one on this show.
Forget that
No.
8-game win streak. Right?
you lay out the positive case. I don't want to take all the good and positive feelings over
Well,
here,
the
you know?
positive case is they figured out how to attack that Miami zone a little bit there in the second half and won a game because of it.
Yeah.
I said this on Thursday's show that I was a little disappointed with how they came out to attack that zone. It was a predictable wrinkle Miami was going to throw in there, but there was better ball movement. They were better. I think, they had more gaps to attack. I think they did a better job getting the ball to that weak side corner so they could then really attack the space. They just had more purpose in the second half. That certainly comes back down to Nick a little bit. It comes down to the players a lot for executing it more decisively, but I thought they did well.
And look, on the other side of the ball, that was a great defensive game for them. We can make all the caveats about that Miami's a bad offense and what have you. I think they scored like 86 points per 100 in the half court in Wednesday's game. That is dreadful, and that's a credit to. We've talked about it a lot over the last month or so. I would say maybe month and a half. That finally the Sixers had reclaimed that defensive identity they had early in the season. I think it looked different, right, without Joel, because with Joel, the strength is Joel's rim protection and how you build the drop coverage around him. And they got more aggressive. I know Derek wrote about this week, that they played more aggressively. They sought out more to create turnovers without Joel, and that made a lot of sense. And so they've been able to establish these not completely parallel identities, but different styles that they can play so that when they have the big guy in the game, they can bunker down and play a certain way. But when you got to ratchet it up, when you got to play pressure defense, when you want to throw Kelly Oubre at a guy for full court, you can do things like that. And so that's the flexibility and the adjustability that I think people have wanted from Joel Embiid's head coach for all these years. And looks like we finally have it in Nick Nurse. So I'm really excited to see how he can impact this playoff run.
Can I throw a wrinkle in here before we step away?
Sure.
One more stock up, stock down. The play-in tournament.
Ooh.
Very skeptical when it was introduced as a 7, 8, 9, 10. And now that we had to sit through our local team that we cover, finally in the play-in tournament, stock up, stock down on the play-in tournament.
I think Kyle
overall.
and I might disagree on this one.
Yeah, here,
This might be a double
the
card.
dueling stock up for me.
There you go.
Stock
This is
down
what we
for
do.
negative Nelly down
We're doing
there.
live.
So I guess I'll start off why. First of all, it leads to garbage ass teams like the Atlanta Hawks playing.
I'm not going to debate you on that.
quote
one.
unquote meaningful
You had to
games.
watch our post-game show while
was
Derek
so-
was going nuts.
so bad.
Those two teams.
But also, I'm just a fan of rewarding the purpose of the playoffs is yes about generating excitement, and I think the 7, 8 games or playing games do that. But I think it's also about figuring out who the best teams are and rewarding the best teams with a chance to advance. I don't like single elimination games or even double elimination games in this case. I think 7-game series are better at determining the better team. And also, I just don't like watching garbage-ass Atlanta Hawks teams play quote-unquote meaningful games and wasting all of our time. So I would change it up where maybe like the first couple of seeds could pick their first-round opponent, something like that. But I don't... Am I going to cry about the play-in games? No, because if you wanted to avoid like a situation where you're a loss away from your season ending, you should have played better during the regular season. I don't think it's a huge deal. And it does, I think, generate some kind of excitement, but I have to watch the Atlanta Hawks play a quote-unquote playing game when they're 10 games under 500 and haven't won in a week and a half.
I'd say I have enjoyed the play-in a lot more than the NBA Cup. We'll say that. A lot more than the in-season tournament.
No,
So
I can agree with you there.
because these are meaningful. Like, we can pretend that the in-season tournament is meaningful. The play-in games are meaningful in a real way, and so
that Pelicans-Lakers game.
That was
a
really good game.
Criminal. I feel so bad for Zion that he got hurt at the end. I know that's like the big problem for him is just health.
But even still, if somebody's
stop him,
if somebody's injury prone,
like 34 points in the paint.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that was outrageous. I mean,
and they all took turns.
Look, Anthony Davis is an incredible rim protector and defender in general, and Zion is going through him like fucking Swiss cheese. It was unbelievable. Crazy. So, hand me that negative stock down sign over there. I want to. You said curveball. Here's another one. Stock down for whoever made the NBA's rule policy for the 65 games and the award qualifications. Yeah. And we're going to bring up the Knicks, or a Knicks player who is involved in this week. Dante DiVincenzo played 81 of 82 games, but because he played as a role player 19 minutes in a bunch of those games, he did not qualify for something like most improved player. Now, I'm not saying that he was going to win or that he necessarily deserved to be the top guy in that race, but certainly when you look at how he built out that skill set as a shooter this year, became one of the highest volume guys in the league, certainly in recent Knicks history.
Yep.
He deserved to be considered fairly for that award, and it was taken away from him for absolutely no good reason. I understand why that part of the rule is in place, right? Like, you don't want to have guys gaming it where you get to the 65 by, hey, you're hurt, and Joel's like available and then plays 1 minute or 30 seconds. He goes out for the tip-off and whatnot. Like, I get it. But there's got to be some level of common sense to allow a guy like that to be considered for that award.
You would say that the common sense would be baked into the awards voters.
Yes.
You don't need a hard and fast rule like that. And I get the NBA is trying to, fix a lot of the player participation problems in terms of availability and load management. Doesn't mean this is an effective way to do so. It seems like they make a rule change and then they react to the rule change and they react to the reaction to the rule change, and it's like a never-ending cycle. And I think this is one that's going to have to be tweaked because I don't think this is the right solution. You're already
is the definition of the rule. He improved from the early part of the season to where he is right now. He improved.
I'm also just thinking, like, imagine if there was a guy who was a 6th Man of the Year candidate who the whole award is based off of coming off of the bench and in most cases playing fewer minutes. Imagine if that type of guy lost out on an award because of the number of games where they played under 20.
Overthinking it.
That's outrageous.
Overthinking it. Well, that'll do it for us for that's basically regular season finale of Stock Up, Stock Down. We're in the playoffs now. When you see us next week, I'm sure it will be involved with the rest of the playoffs, not just the Sixers. We appreciate it. Of course, Sixers Stock Report, as always, is brought to you by our good people from
Bagels Co. As we showed you today, guys, not only do they do Brooklyn-style huge bagels, they do croissants.
Huge croissants.
He busted out the croissant. Sounded like on all that. What's it? Keenan Thompson, Pierre Escargot over here. That's gonna be. I'm gonna Photoshop you into that bathtub with the rubber ducky. Anyway, thank you to our friends at Bagels Co.
Appreciate it.
Great bagels, great cream cheese. www.thebagelsandco.com/store-locator to find the closest location nearest to you.
We'll see you next week.
We all silly like the mayor.